Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Wright. I'm running product management at Ayla Networks, and we're here to talk about some IoT and M2M. So we've seen the numbers, the words. IoT is huge. I think I've got to go through this. Oh, I pushed the wrong button there. Is that the right one? Yeah. Okay. And I think there's one more. So while you're reading this, I'm going to concentrate on the third one, that IoT is not a market. Okay, this is actually a collection of loosely related markets. Okay, and why is that important? It means that as we get to these 50 billion things that are going to get connected, it's going to be connected in a very fragmented manner. Okay, so different manufacturers are building these things differently. They have different value propositions for the products that are being created. And if we're going to support this, then we need to be able to support their architectures, right? Which can be very varied. Some things we've heard about Wi-Fi, we heard about Zigbee, we heard 900 megahertz in the sessions this morning. We even heard about 200 megahertz, right? LoRa. They are varied, and we do, the reason these all exist is they have specific differentiators. So we do need them all, and so we need to connect up to them. Okay. So why is it important to the manufacturers, and some of which are here in the audience, right? It's important for a couple of reasons. We discussed some this morning. Another one that's important is we're going from we're changing. We're going from a situation that's a sequential product cycle manufacturing model into something that's having constant product iteration, right? So those that can do this will survive. Those that can't do this are who John Chambers refers to as the 40% of the Fortune 500 that won't exist in 10 years. Right, and we did hear from other speakers that it also allows manufacturers to gain more recurring revenue and other revenue models. That's also a critical piece. So this is on the industrial side. You can see it on the commercial side already, or the consumer side already. Right, when people go to buy things now, where do they go? Right, they go to their social networks. They go to Yelp. They go to Amazon. They see what the reviews are, and they buy based on positive reviews that are there. Well, these market drivers are going to come to the manufacturers as well. They're going to come to you, manufacturers that are out there. Why? Because we're going from a system where we may have taken 18 months to implement something. We see an improvement, or maybe a software improvement. But it may take another 18 months to put that in, but the life cycle of the product that we've just sold is 10 plus years, right? That's not going to survive in this new era, right? So along with finding more profitable ways to sell the goods, whether they're services instead of just selling the goods, we also have to be able to improve the product when it's in the field. We need to be able to change the product when it's in the field. Okay, and that's why I'm pushing is the gist of IoT. So when we're looking for an IoT platform, we need one that can adopt whatever we're doing to this market, to this changing market. That'll enable manufacturers to address this new market space. Okay, now if I move over to the IoT platform itself, there are some common needs, right? There's a lot of concern about security right now, but it is actually very capable to do enterprise-grade security right now inexpensively. It's just people have not taken it to do that, and we get in trouble. So there is also the need for support and protection of privacy. Privacy is different from security. Okay, privacy is what the end user deems as private, and then living up to that. Okay, having an open architecture to be able to leverage partners. Okay, as Chambers also said, this market is so big we can't do it all ourselves. So those that partner with others and can do it successfully are the ones that are going to, together, will win. okay, and having APIs to allow fast time to market. So time to market's very, very important. So this is the Ayla platform. So we're really in the we're in the center there. What we do is we provide an end-to-end platform for OEMs looking to IoT connect their products. Okay, whether it's a greenfield installation or you're already a leader in your market and you just want to connect what you've already got, bring that connection to your product line. Now, we don't do hardware. We're a software-only company, but we do provide an end-to-end solution. So what we do is we partner with leading manufacturers of connectivity solutions to ensure our agents in there so that we have one common layer, if you will, of software. So that common layer allows us to do some very specific things. All the end units are serialized, right? When something connects up to the cloud, there's a 2048-bit key on it that's serialized that we know exactly what it is, right? So we prevent spoofing, we prevent man-in-the-middle attacks, okay? And that's done from an off-the-shelf Broadcom module that you can get that has our agent in it. If you want to work with Marvell, we've got that as well. Okay, so we work with leading connectivity manufacturers to get the connectivity piece implemented, right, and also with CMs to have the agents in the gateways. Then we do the cloud. In the edges there, or in between the cloud, we have libraries. So we don't have an SDK. Okay, Ayla does not have an SDK. Everything is done. We give you a library. So if you're creating a product, you already have a SDK you're using for whatever processor's in there. We'll give you a library for the end unit so that you basically incorporate that C library into your development, and there's no new SDK you need to learn. We have a library on the other side so that you can use iOS or Android or mobile developers to write your app to access the data that you're creating up in the cloud. Okay, a little bit of detail here. I won't go into this, but we do have, facilities. Once we've collected the data for the OEM owns all the data. Okay, owns it indefinitely, and that data is always there. We do not get rid of the data. So whatever data your devices are collecting, it will be in the cloud. And then we do provide capabilities then for doing business intelligence on them, analytics. Okay. The key to this, remember I said there's no SDK. We virtualize all the products. Everything's virtualized in the cloud. Okay, so the product is identified in the cloud. You basically identify through data pairs what you're going to send up to the cloud and what you're expecting back from the cloud. There is no schema. Okay, so the platform is data-centric. It's all built on data pairs, but there's no schema. If somebody here is building a thermostat, they get to define how that thermostat's going to be. If somebody else is building a competitive thermostat, they can define how their thermostat's going to be. We do not define what products are. Okay, so you can define how many datums are going to go up and how many datums are going to go down. Why is that? It's because no one has a crystal ball, right? How many Trekkies are out here? Okay, if you were designing a Starship Enterprise, would you think to be able to turn off life support while there were still crew members on board so that you can put the power to the shields? Probably not, right? But how many times have they done that, right? Every episode where they're being attacked, that's being done. So you want to have that flexibility, okay, and that's the key. So this is another slide. Oops, it's moving on its own. Look at that. Okay, so this is where I was noting it's a data-centric architecture, right? And that big circle in the middle is everything that we provide, including we'll do cloud to cloud. So there are other expert systems out there. We will connect to other clouds, and then there's libraries provided for the two ends to connect to devices, to communicate to the devices, and to be able to write apps for the data that you're collecting and the control. Okay, comprehensive platform features. This is just a little thing to look at just to make sure that I'm covering things that people are looking at, right? So, but we did a couple of differentiated points. There is single-step registration, so there's multiple ways that people can register. Right? So if you're using an Android-type application, then right, then maybe it's Bonjour you're using. You may want you may want control on the other side. You may want control with HomeKit. So those are things that are provided. Many devices, one application. That also means many connectivity methodologies. So as the user, as the consumer, or the industrial person who's using the app, right? Do they really care that it's 900 megahertz or 200 megahertz or Zigbee? No, they shouldn't, right? And if it's all virtualized in the cloud, then they don't need to. The app can control all of it. Okay, I wanted to show you this, and let me see if I can. I see I've got a 3-minute warning here, and basically, what I'll do without showing is so this is a developer's dashboard, right? And this is showing how you create things. So I'm going to show you a quick video. So I'm not going to go into this too deeply, but the video is showing these are items. Thank you. These are items that we put up onto the dashboard to identify, and these were off-the-shelf parts. So these were basically Zigbee's, GE Zigbee lights, Leviton plugs, and they were Somfy shades. And this is them virtualized in the cloud. Let me see if that's connected. I can't tell. Okay. Well, for interest, if you come and see me after, what I can do is if I drill down into any of these, you'll see the properties that they have. Okay, so in the case of the thermostat, this thermostat can send up 5 different items, and it can pull down 2, and so that's how it's shown, and that's how you create an item, by the way. So there is no SDK. That's how you create and virtualize a product. Okay, so how do we measure the effectiveness? With 4 things: cost, time, flexibility, and big data. Right? Cost to develop, time to market. So we've got costs down. We've heard people talking about costs. We only charge on API calls. Okay, so the data's there indefinitely. We don't charge you for that. We charge you for the API calls. So API calls are much less than a tenth of a penny a call. So that drives good hygiene. Okay, and we can, meaning, do you need to know every minute that a light is off? No, maybe you want to know only when it changes. So it dictates good design technique. We can use this, the efficiency and cost, to either charge one time, particularly for consumer devices. Consumer manufacturers don't want to pay license fees. So we would charge, maybe $10 for 5 years of service for a thermostat. Okay. Whereas if you're an industrial, we would charge a license fee monthly, and people are used to that. Time to market. Okay. I'll show you 2, and then you got to do something with the data, and then flexibility. Right. Once you've put that Starship Enterprise in space, you suddenly got to realize, I want to be able to change its functionality, and I need to be able to change that now so that I can move life support. Okay, leading fire and safety company. This is Kidde Fire and Safety, part of UTech. They launched a product at CES. They were working with us when I started. They started working with us, so not that long, and they launched this at CES. This is in a way a response to the Nest thermostat. Okay. This is another one. This is a consumer product. It's from a startup called Owlet. Owlet's building a little boot that goes on newborns that come home and monitors their life functions and sends that information to an app. And from that, of course, they're building data. Okay, hospitality. So this is a demo. So let me quickly show that. Where is this here? Do I still have a minute and a half? Yes. All right. So picture this, if the video starts and if this is starting. So you're coming to the M2M show. You want to book a room, right, at your favorite hotel, and you go online. In this case, well, let's go to Caesars. Let's go to CES. You're going to CES. You're going to book a room at Caesars. They've got you in their loyalty program. That's the benefit of IoT for them, right? And they say, yes, we have one of the 5 rooms that you like. Come on over. When you come, you don't go to the front desk, okay? Virtualized products I showed you, that's them there operating. This is the new Link Hotel that Caesars is putting up. WeChat is the largest social network company in China. They have about 800 million users. Very similar to Amazon, except with Amazon you buy things. With WeChat you can buy things, but you can also buy services. So this was a demo. We collaborated with Caesars and WeChat 8 weeks before CES, and this was shown. This is a professional video that was taken during the CES show of us implementing that. So that closes my presentation. Unless there's any questions. Thank you.